Hey, listen up. I'm about to tell you something that's going to sound absolutely crazy at first, but stick with me. Your perfectionism, that thing that you think is making you better at your job, it's actually sabotaging your career success. I've spent over 2 decades in corporate America. I've built, scaled, and sold businesses. I've led executive teams for both companies and churches. And here's what I've discovered. The people who chase perfection never reach their potential. But the people who chase excellence, they're the ones who dominate their fields. And today I want to break down the 5 critical differences between excellence and perfectionism that will totally change how you approach your work forever. Point number 1, excellence serves others, perfectionism serves ego. All right, this first one is huge. Excellence asks, how can I serve people better? But perfectionism asks, how do I look better? You see the difference? Excellence is outward focus. Perfectionism is inward focus. When you're pursuing excellence, you're always thinking about your customers or your team, your boss, other people. How can I deliver value that will actually help them? But when you're stuck in perfectionism, you're constantly worried about what people are going to think about you. I've also been a musician my entire life. I play saxophone, guitar, piano. I've been a composer, a conductor, recording artist. And something that plagues literally every single musician in the world is this insatiable desire to perform perfectly every time. But after years of performing myself, you know what I've learned? If you ever have the opportunity to listen to a completely synthesized orchestral track that was made entirely by a computer with literally 0 flaws or inconsistencies, guess what? You won't like it because it lacks the life and the energy of a live orchestra. See, the computer aligns every note with mathematical precision to make it truly, technically perfect. But that perfection is also the very thing that is stripping it away from the raw and real human elements of energy and emotion. There's just something about the tension of teetering on the verge of chaos and failure that actually gives music life. And great musicians are those who learn to weave their flaws and their imperfections into the original masterpiece that they are creating. And listen, the same thing is true in your workplace. When you're serving others with excellence, you bring that raw and real human element that perfectionists can't replicate. Point number 2, excellence has deadlines. Perfectionism has delays. Now listen, this second distinction will literally save your career. Excellence respects deadlines, but perfectionism destroys them. Think about it. How many times have you missed a deadline simply because you were, just making it better? Or how many opportunities have you lost because you weren't quite yet ready to present your imperfect work? Here's the brutal truth. Perfect work delivered late is worthless. But excellent work delivered on time, that's what gets you promoted. Excellence understands that done is actually better than perfect. It knows that iteration beats procrastination every single time. You can always improve version 2.0, but you can't improve something that never gets released at all, right? Now, I used to tell my team at the digital marketing company that I started all the time, there comes a point where the product must just launch. Whether you're completely happy with it as the designer or not, like we've got to go to production. An excellently designed website, once launched, can continue to be developed over time, but if we wait for perfection before we'll ever launch, we might never get there. See, the marketplace rewards people who will literally just ship excellent work consistently, not people who promise perfect work someday. So give it your best shot today and just get it done. Point number 3, excellence learns from failure. Perfectionism fears it. Now this third distinction is where most people get trapped. Excellence sees failure as feedback, but perfectionism sees failure as fatal. When you're pursuing excellence, you see every mistake as just a data point. Failure is education. Every setback is a set up for a comeback, right? But the perfectionist is paralyzed constantly by the possibility of being wrong. In addition to the companies and organizations I've had the opportunity to work with and for, I've also spent years developing my skill in trading the stock market. And one critical lesson that I've had to learn the hard way in order to be a profitable trader is this: you learn more from your losses than you do from your gains. That's what Peter Lynch meant when he said, quote, "There's no such thing as failure in the market, only tuition." In other words, losing a little money on a trade can actually be the very best thing that happens, because it can teach you humility and the importance of risk management so that you don't end up losing a whole lot more money later on. See, in every field and endeavor, excellence will always ask, what can I learn from this situation, especially in the face of failure? But perfectionism is going to ask, how can I avoid this from ever happening again? One of those mindsets is creating growth. The other is creating stagnation. And that's because here's what excellent people understand that perfectionists just don't. Your reputation and your success is not built on never making mistakes. It's built on how quickly you learn from those mistakes and how gracefully you recover from them. Point number 4, excellence focuses on progress. Perfectionism demands completion. Excellent people understand that mastery is actually a journey, it's not the destination. And they measure themselves against where they were yesterday, not against some impossible standard of flawlessness. Perfectionism will constantly tell you it's not good enough until it's perfect. But excellence is going to say it's good enough when it serves its purpose and when it can be improved upon later. And by the way, in case you're unaware, what I'm giving you here is actually subtle wisdom from the Bible. I don't know if you realize that or not. Because if you think about it, how was the universe created originally in Genesis chapter 1? Even God's creation process was progressive in the beginning, right? He worked in stages, one day at a time, and he evaluated each day's work as good, though yet not complete. And then he built upon it. See, he was demonstrating a wisdom principle there that should actually be informing our pattern of work activity as well. Excellence gives you permission to be human while still pursuing greatness. It says you can actually ship the 80% solution today and make it 90% tomorrow, rather than spending months and months trying to make it 100% and never shipping it at all. And here's the final distinction between excellence and perfection. And this is the big one. You ready? Point number 5. Excellence creates freedom. Perfectionism creates bondage. It does. Excellence will create freedom in your life, friend. But perfectionism will keep you trapped in bondage. When you pursue excellence, you work with purpose. You ship and deliver consistently. You learn rapidly, and you get to sleep well at night knowing that you gave it your best effort today. But perfectionism, on the other hand, is a prison. It will keep you working late into the night on projects that were, frankly, done hours ago. It'll make you second guess every single decision that you were probably right on the first time. And it will ultimately steal your peace and your joy and your relationships. And listen, I've been on both sides of this. I've been the guy who's missed family dinners trying to make something perfect. I've delayed launching projects because they weren't quite ready, and as a result, I ended up losing the client altogether in the end. But along the way, I've actually learned this very truth that I'm trying to share with you. Perfectionism, contrary to what you keep telling yourself, isn't actually about high standards. It's about fear. You fear judgment. You fear failure. You fear being found out, that somehow you're incapable, or maybe you're in over your head in this job. But excellence, on the other hand, is about stewardship. It's about taking what you've been given, your talents and your time and your opportunities, however great or small they may be, and just simply using them to serve other people at the highest level that you can today, while continuously growing for tomorrow. All right, so I hope I've convinced you at this point to make this shift today from perfectionism to excellence. And if so, then let me close with 3 immediate action steps that you should take right now if you're serious about this. You ready? First of all, set good enough standards for different types of work. Not everything needs to be a masterpiece, right? For example, when you sit down to respond to emails, make those emails clear and helpful, but they don't have to be literary works of art. So just knock them out and get it done and send them. Second, embrace the 80-20 rule. Deliver your work when you've captured 80% of the value, because you can always iterate and come back for the remaining 20%. Third, start asking different questions. Instead of, is this perfect? Start asking, does it serve its purpose? Instead of, what will people think about this? Ask, how does this help people? Remember, you and I were created to do excellent work, not perfect work. And your unique perspective, your experience as a human being, your individual journey, those aren't bugs in the system that need to be massaged out. No, they're actually features and enhancements that make you you. That they are what make your contribution irreplaceable. So let's go out and chase excellence with everything we've got without falling into the trap of being enslaved to perfection. It's a futile quest, and even if you arrived there, you probably wouldn't like it because it would require you to give up the uniqueness of what makes you who you are. And listen, if this talk is resonating with you today and you actually want to go deeper with transforming how you see your daily work, I'm happy to tell you that I've actually created something very special just for you. I've put together a free 30-day Work as Worship devotional guide that I believe will completely transform how you approach your job. Each day includes scripture, practical reflection, and specific challenges to help you live out these principles of excellence over perfectionism one day at a time. It's a daily roadmap for finding purpose and peace and yes, even worship in your workplace. So whether you're in a cubicle today, or you're running a business, or you're leading a team, I think this guide is going to help you see how to bring your best effort every single time without the bondage to perfectionism. So be sure to go and grab your free copy by clicking on the link down in the description below. It's my gift to you because I believe your work matters more than you know, and you deserve to approach it with freedom, not fear. Now, obviously, you want to do good work today, right? And so do I. We want to go home today and be proud of what we have created. But here's the problem. Most people confuse perfectionism with excellence. And it's that confusion that is costing them promotions and opportunities, accomplishments, and ultimately peace of mind. So my hope is that these 5 game-changing distinctions between excellence and perfectionism have been helpful to you so that you now will be better prepared to go out and pursue excellence without failing into the perfectionism trap that has been currently keeping you stuck. Remember, your excellence is what the world needs, not your perfection. So go show them what you've got, all right? You ready? Let's get to work.